Hello and welcome to the first lesson of GA4 report customization course. In this lesson, we are talking about overview of GA4 reports and some basic glossary of terms. So we will cover what is the overview of different reports. I will also give you the intro to the detailed and overview reports, and I will also give you some glossary. So first, let's understand the GA4 interface. What does it looks like? So whenever you will open the GA4, it will look something like this. Here you can see that you have your account name, your different reports, and here is some cards that are showing you data. We will go into detail. So let's start with the reports. Every GA4 account that you will have access to, it will have access to these reports. So you will have access to the lifecycle collection, the user collection, and the topics like acquisition, engagement, monetization, retention, user attributes, and tech, and these two reports that are the snapshot and the real-time reports. So every kind of GA4 property that you will have access to will include these reports. And to go in a little depth, this is a collection, the user collection, this is the topic, and this is the overview report, and this is the detailed report. So now we are talking about what is overview report. So it's a dashboard that has a set of cards. So overview report is just giving you an overview about this particular topic, and these cards summarize the detailed reports on a topic. So yeah, whatever I have told before. And it says that one topic can have only one overview report. So as we have seen before, so if we have like these topics, so like acquisition, engagement, monetization, so each of these topics will only have one overview report. They can have as many detailed report as they want, but each of these topics will only include one overview report. So for example, the first overview report like we can talk about is the user acquisition, that comes in the acquisition topic. Now we are talking about what is a detailed report. So these reports dive deep into one or two dimensions of a topic. Why am I saying one or two dimensions? Because every detailed report will have one primary dimension, and you can also add one optional secondary dimension, and it helps you see the data in more detail. So it will tell you about particular dimension, and you can have data about that particular dimension, and it includes up to 2 visualizations and a table. So visualization can be something like there are 2 graphs, one is line graph and one is bar graph. You can have those two, and or you can have one of them, and the example can be the user acquisition report. So here is an example of an detailed report. So this is the user acquisition report. So here you can see there are 2 visualizations. One is a bar chart and one is a line chart. It is telling you about one single dimension, that is first user default channel group, and here are some metrics that you can track. So it is telling you about all of this, and this is what a detailed report looks like. Now we are talking about what is life cycle collection. So you remember we talked about life cycle collection before. So it says that the life cycle collection helps you understand each stage in the customer journey from the acquisition to retention. It just means that how you are acquiring the users, like where are your users coming from and how good you are retaining them, and it includes how your users are using or interacting with your website, like where are your users coming from, how they are engaged, how they are engaging with your website, and everything about that is included in the life cycle collection. So there are 4 different topics in the reports as we have discussed before: the acquisition, monetization, engagement, and retention. So we have different topics in the report, and each topic includes different detailed reports. Here is a little note that our goal is not to understand how each report works and how their dimension and metrics work, but I will give you a slight overview of how each report works, because like when we are making reports, it will give you a slight idea of what we are talking about. So here is the first topic, the acquisition, and here we have 3 reports, that is one overview report and 2 different reports that are user and traffic acquisition. Next is the engagement. It includes the engagement overview and these 4 reports. The other 2 are monetization and retention. So here we have the monetization overview, and it is basically about your purchases and your e-commerce side of things. And the last one is the retention. So it just have one report, that is retention overview. Now we are coming at the second collection, which is the user collection, and it says that the user collection helps you understand the people who use your website or app, including their demographics, for example their age, location, their gender, and the technology that they're using, like the browser version, app version, or their screen resolution, or their operating system, or something like that. And it shows you who are the users that are accessing your website, and like everything about your user, like who they are, where they are coming from, if they are coming from a certain country, and if they are coming from a country, what reason are they coming from, and everything related to that. So it basically tells you everything about your user. So it says that there are 2 different topics in the reports, and as we have said before, each topic includes different detailed and overview reports. There are only 2 topics, the demographics and the tech, and each topic has its overview and detailed report, as you can see here. Now we should come at the glossary of terms. So I will tell you some terms that you should be familiar with, because when we will make reports, it will be easier for you to get in and understand. So every report that you will come across, we are talking about detailed reports. So every detailed report you come across will have these 2 things, that is one, metric and dimension. The metric is displayed first and then the dimension. So if you are seeing any report and you want to know what is the metric and what is the dimension, like the primary, metric and dimension, then you can see from here then that this is the primary metric and this is the primary dimension. So let's know what is a dimension. So by definition, a dimension is an attribute of your data. It describes your data and it's usually text as opposed to numbers. So like it is text and it is not numbers. Numbers is something we will cover just in a minute. So dimension is used to categorize data. You can say dimension as a overview of something, and they are text values. So something like a browser will tell you what browser a person is using. So for example, if you are selecting the dimension browser, it will list all of the browser like Chrome, Firefox, or Edge or something like that. So this is the dimension. Now we are coming to the metric, and by definition a metric is a quantitative measurement such as an average, ratio, percentage and so on. It's always a number as opposed to text. One way to think about metric is that you can apply mathematical operations to them. So these are numbers that you will see on your detailed report. So for example, the views metric on any of your detailed report will show how many app screens or web pages your users will see. So this particular metric also shows that if a single screen or a single page is repeated, so it will show you the numbers, like suppose your web pages got like 100 views, so it will be a number. Next we are talking about is what is note set. So you must have seen note set in your detailed reports before. So note set is a placeholder name that analytics use when it hasn't received any information for a dimension. So it only occurs in the dimensions. So if you are seeing note set in any dimension, it just means that analytics has not received much information about that particular dimension. So it can happen due to various reasons, depending on what reports it appears in. So you can get more info about here. So I will link to this in the slides and you can check that for yourself. Next is insight about user metrics. So it is something different from the universal analytics, and that's why I wanted to talk about here. So GA4 has 3 different metrics: total users, new users and active users. You can understand total and new users just by looking at them, that they are the number of total and the new users. But active user is something that these users have a engaged session. We will talk about it in the other lessons. So if you see users in your report, like just users, and it doesn't have anything in front of it like total, new or active, you can just understand that this just means active users, because active user is the primary metric in GA4 when it comes to measuring users. So the last thing that we are talking about is what you can do with the default reports, the standard reports that you analytics gives you. So you can apply filters to them, you can change the dimensions, and you can add secondary dimensions. You can change the metrics there and add comparisons. You can change the date range to understand the data better, and you can also customize the default reports, as well as you can also make the detailed reports from scratch that we will start with the next lessons. And if you have any questions, you can let me know and I will help you answer them.